If you're interested in Betfair trading and you want to learn how to trade, then visit the Academy where you can do exactly that. If you want to talk to professional Betfair traders, then why not head over to our forum where you can talk to like-minded people, but you can also download additional content. And don't forget to head over to our website to download a copy of BetAngel, the cutting-edge software that will completely transform your trading. So what I'm going to do in this video is some Betfair trading. We're going to be doing it on pre-off horse racing. And what I've done here is I've done 2 trades in quick succession. And one of them is a good example of a trade that has worked. I'm going to describe some of the detail of exactly why that trade worked and what I was looking for and stuff like that. And the other one is a failed trade. I make a small loss on it, but I'll describe what I was looking for, what happened, why it didn't turn out to be a successful trade, but also basically what I did when I realized that it had failed. So let's have a look at these 2 trades and get an understanding of why one was successful, one wasn't, and the sort of things that I was looking for. So one of the things I want to point out to you here is if you look at the charts that I'm using here, I've got a Betfair chart at the top of the screen. But the problem we have with Betfair charts, as I'm recording this video, is that they're wrong. They're broken. There's a couple of problems that you have with Betfair charts. First one is that it doesn't plot a linear time series. I probably haven't described that successfully. It looks wrong. The data that you see is compressed on it. But also we've seen this issue with Betfair in that when there's a price movement of a few ticks, it doesn't plot it correctly on the chart. So what I've done on this video, partially for demonstration purposes, is I'm actually using a advanced chart within BetAngel that has been configured to replicate what the Betfair chart actually should look like. So you can actually compare and contrast the 2 on there. I haven't really used any technical indicators or additional information on here. You can do that if you want to on BetAngel. You can modify the charts, create some really complex looking technical indicators and more market data that will aid your trading. But I've just kept things simple on this particular video. But I would encourage you to go off and explore the charting area. And if you're interested in downloading this particular chart that we're using here, along with some other examples, if you go to the forum, it's actually possible to import and export any charts that you create to be able to be used within BetAngel or to share with others. So if you go to the forum, you can actually download this chart and a few other examples that you may want to use. Anyhow, let's have a good look at these trades. So looking here at a familiar setup, I'm looking at the favourite here, and I'm particularly interested that it's near a crossover point. And when we're near a crossover point, obviously that's advantageous to us. I have done a video specifically on this, where I talk about the key advantages and benefits of doing this. But one of the other things to notice here as well is that we're sort of in the middle of a trading range here. If we're at the top of a trading range, especially in a handicap race, you may not want to initiate a trade looking for the price to rise because it may just not go any further. So we're looking really ideally at an entry point of a crossover in a race like this, either at the bottom or somewhere in the middle, so it's got a little bit of room to move. We wouldn't necessarily enter at the top of a traded range in a race like this. So I've decided what I want to do. I just need to choose the stake that I'm going to use, and I'm going to go straight into this market. This is sort of unusual for me, but we've only got 2.5 minutes to do this trade, and therefore that's why I've gone sort of straight in at a particular price point with a full stake, and I'm waiting for it to fill like that. Normally I would suggest building a position, but because I've gone in at the crossover point, you can actually see it's advantageous for us as the price rises. You can see that it's actually going to go up in increments of £50. So you can see it goes 4, 54, 104, 150, and so on. And then below you can see if the position goes against us, we're only losing £25 a tick. But basically I would have been watching this market for a period of time. You can see on the chart that basically the price came in, it refused to go any lower and is on a drift. And there's activity that I can see on the other ladders that is indicating that their price is getting pulled in. So that's going to help us get these orders filled above where the current price is. I've entered some orders in here where the order queue is relatively thin because they should get filled quickly. I've got £200 in open orders in the market. I need to get £450 of those filled.
and we just need to sort of wait for the market to work its magic. So you can see we're about to get filled at 4.4. Prices are continuing to come in on the third and fourth favourite. And you can see here that it's traded in this range in the last 60 seconds or so. So it's traded between sort of about 4-ish and about 4.5. And you can see it's just gradually moving up. And where I've placed my orders are where I think it will go. So you can see that I'm saying it's probably going to trade somewhere near 5, but probably not further. And the reason I'm not putting the other orders in is there we go. The reason that I'm not putting the other orders in is because I don't want to flood the market with them. I'd rather drip feed the orders in because I don't want to stop any move that's going in my favour. But you can see that it's hit 5 and then has started to retrace a little bit. That's not unusual. And so really it's just a case here in the last 30 seconds of making sure that we can get these orders filled. We've got 150 orders waiting to get filled. So what you'll see me do is basically pull these orders down before we run out of time. When that order for 4.6 gets filled, I'll move or wait for the other orders to get filled. But as we approach post time, then I'll try and get these filled a little bit quicker. So you can see I've put another order in at 4.7, cancelled the one at 5. And we're just waiting for these orders to get matched at this particular moment. 4.7's been matched, so we just have to hang around and wait for 8 to get matched. Which it will in a second. And there we go. So we'll get a hedged profit of about £63 or about 309 gross on this particular selection. So we can just click here, hedge that position, and then we get £63 profit for about 2.5 minutes work in this market. So I've picked this next trade because it's very similar, and it was in quick succession to the prior trade, and the setup is very similar as well. So you can see I'm at the bottom of this particular traded range. I'm going in here because I don't think the price will go much lower, and you can see it's traded at a low of 242, but you can basically see that the price has come in. It hasn't gone any lower, and I'm looking for the bounce. I'm expecting the price to head out again in the last couple of minutes or so of this particular market. So I put my closing trades in initially for the wrong amount, and I'm basically saying, well, this is roughly where I think this trade will go within the amount of time that we've got left. So once I've established a position, I'm just trying to close out my trade at the best possible price, and that will be a variety of different prices above where it's currently trading. So the setup is very similar, obviously not at a crossover point, but basically the setup that I'm looking for here, the prices come in, come in, come in. It won't go any further, so I'm expecting the price to bounce out a little. The thing that's different on this particular trade is you can see we don't have as much support from the other runners as this trade develops. So you know, on the other trade it was quite clear that some of the others were being backed in. It's not so clear on this particular market that we are getting support from the other runners that we can see on the ladder. So as a consequence, you can see that the price on the favourite is sort of struggling to go out. It's not really making a very big move. And what I've tried to show you in other videos as well, where I've been talking about the dynamics of trading, what I've tried to get across to you really is that what you're trying to do is roughly the right thing at roughly the right time for roughly the right reasons, but you can't guarantee it. So if you get your entry to the market reasonably correct, that will help you limit losses by the fact that if the position goes against you, you're not going to lose too much money. And you can see that that's roughly what's happening here in this market. We're really not getting that move going up, but you can actually see that the potential for loss is actually reasonably limited. And now that we realize that this move isn't going to develop, what I'm actually doing is I'm basically closing out my positions the best that I can. I'm not looking to chase any positions. I'm not looking to do anything weird or wonderful. I'm basically saying, you know, let's make sure that we can get out of this position in reasonable shape before this particular race starts. What you'll see me do in a second is I also do click the Take SP All button, and that is simply so that I know that I'm definitely out of my trade, because we're getting quite close to start time. So yeah, all I'm trying to do is make sure that I can exit my trade and that I don't take anything in place. I'm just clicking that Take SP All button to make sure that I don't have a problem. And you can see we've exited there for a small loss, but you know, that's the way that the cookie crumbles. We had to take a loss on this occasion, but that's not so bad. It's just a case of the fact that we had roughly the right setup. It worked before, it has worked in the past, it will work again in the future. But on this particular occasion, it didn't. So all we did was minimize the damage by closing out the best that we could, and making sure that we closed our position before the race went in play. But on this occasion, we didn't get anything from it. But on another occasion, we will, and we'll get varying grades of positives and negatives over the course of a number of these trades. But generally, because we're taking the right approach, creating the right setup, and doing roughly the right thing, we should be okay over the long term, regardless of whatever the short term result is. Anyhow, I hope this video has been useful for you, and by showing those two trades, both had similar setups but different outcomes. But you know what? That's how trading works.